Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtraprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Durlabho Manusho Deho Dehinam Shanabhangarai Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priyadarshinaha Guruvai Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Namaha Pankajnabhaya Namaha Pankajamaline Namaha Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangriye Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayajantihi Sumedasaham. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear worshipable devotees, for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, chapter number 1. So we just started this chapter a few days back. Interesting chapter entitled King Sudyumna Becomes a Woman. Can anyone tell quickly what we have discussed so far? Till text number 16.
16.
We have
discussed.
Yes, you want to tell, Babu Prabhu? Or Kṛṣṇa wants to tell? Kṛṣṇa wants to speak about Kṛṣṇa. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Okay, just a quick recap because there are a lot of names here. Who was the... So you're talking about Vivaswan. Vivaswan's parents were... Vivaswan is the sun god. Sun god's parents, Aditi and Kashyapa. Aditi and Kashyapa, their son was Shraddha or current Vaivasvatha Manu. Now Vaivasvatha Manu wanted to have a son, but so they organized a yagya, and somehow the wife Shraddha said, well, please, can you chant a mantra where I can get a daughter? So Vaivasvatha Manu had wanting a son, she wanting a daughter. There was some confusion, and chanting of the mantras, especially in the Vedic times, is quite critical. As a result, a daughter was born. Her name was Ila. But Manu was not so happy. Then he spoke to his guru as follows. So what did he speak? We'll start from text 17. Okay, so he was not so happy because of this episode. Bhagavan kim idam jatam karma vo brahma vadinam viparyayam aho kashtan mevam syad brahma vikiriya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. My Lord, all of you are expert in chanting the Vedic mantras. How then has the result been opposite to the one desired? This is a matter for lamentation. There should not have been such a reversal of the results of the Vedic mantras. So reversal means because he was, as I said, he was wanting a son, the wife Shraddha wanting a daughter. So she had told the priest, can you chant the mantras for daughter? Purport. In this age, the performance of yajna has been forbidden because no one can properly chant the Vedic mantras. If Vedic mantras are chanted properly, the desire for which a sacrifice is performed must be successful. Therefore, the Hare Krishna chant is called the Maha Mantra, the great exalted mantra above all other Vedic mantras, because simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, brings so many beneficial effects, as explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Shishtastakam, text 1. Cheto darpanam marjanam bhava mahadavagani nirvapanam shreyas kairav chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam anandam buddhi vardhanam pratipadam purnamritasmadanam sarvatma snapanam param vidyate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Glory to the Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death, This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Okay. One wants to read this paragraph? Okay, Shana, read.
Therefore, the best performance of yagya is given to us in the Sankirtana yagya. Yagnai Sankirtanya Prayer Jag, Yag, Yajanti Hi Shumed Dasha. Those who are intelligent take advantage of the greatest yagya in this age by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in congregation. When the Hare Krishna mantra is chanted by many men together, the chanting is called Sankirtana. And as a result of such a yagya, there will be clouds in the sky. Yagnad Bhavati Parigyagya. In these days of drought, people can gain relief from scarcity of rain and food by the simple method of the Hare Krishna Yagya. Indeed, this can relieve all of human society. At present, there are droughts throughout Europe and America, and people are suffering. But if people take this Krishna consciousness movement seriously, if they stop their sinful activities and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, their problems will be solved without difficulty. In other processes of yagya, there are difficulties because there are no learned scholars who can chant the mantras perfectly well, nor is it possible to secure the ingredients to perform the yagya. Because human society is poverty-stricken, all the men are devoid of Vedic knowledge and the power to chant the Vedic mantras. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the only shelter. People should be intelligent enough to chant it. Yagna Sankirtana prayer Yajanti hi Shumed Dasha. Those whose brains are dull cannot understand this chanting, nor can they take to it. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, what do you think, Vishan, Prabhu, about this? Tell me in your words what you read.
That people are suffering because of their sinful activities, but if they stop doing sinful activities and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then all their suffering will go away.
Very good. Well, then someone can say that we can do fire sacrifices and get ghee and chant the other Vedic mantras. What's wrong with that? You know the answer?
No property.
Okay, I'll share. So in this day and age, firstly, less intelligent, right? Poverty stricken. Getting the pure ingredients is very difficult. Getting the pure Brahmana is very difficult. Chanting in the proper way is very, very difficult, right? We have such difficult time reading these verses. But chanting the holy name, even a child can say. Even if one says, I was just hearing this lecture, in the Muslim, there's a word called haram. Haram means abominable, right? They don't eat pig fat or pig meat because they consider it as haram. But Prabhupada was mentioning that even if someone says haram, Krishna will see is chanting the name of Lord Ram. Ram, because Ram is there in haram, right? Isn't that amazing? Like, Redukamatatji gave the example of Valmiki Muni who was chanting Mara, 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 Mara. So from Mara to Ram, that's the power of the holy name. But it's not true for the Vedic mantras. If someone is, chanting like we know the story of Mitrasur and that how he was getting someone to destroy, and rather he became a friend, right? That Indra, uh, and then who was the Twashta, and all that pastime is there in that Canto 6, I believe, right? So, and there are multiple other, and this is a classic example. This chapter is also a classic example of mantra going wrong. These days, also in marriages, that no one understands what mantra they're chanting. In death ceremony, they're chanting marriage mantra. Sometimes the marriage ceremony chanting death ceremony mantras. No, the people don't understand. The priest doesn't understand. It's all a ritual, and somehow everyone wants to get it done, and just want to honor, want to eat whatever is there in the lunch, dinner, whatever. So, but the holy name is so simple, so sublime, so potent, so powerful. There are no hard and fast rules. So much benefits are there. We discuss in the first part of this verse. So, in short, we are very, very fortunate that we are in this time where anyone and everyone can access the holy name and go back home, back to Godhead. So that's the point here. He was asking, who is asking whom? Who can complete this verse? X is asking why. Who are the personalities? Who is this question being addressed to? And who is asking that question? And why did this mantra go wrong? Why this opposite effect happen?
Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadeva Goswami.
No,
Sorry.
not exactly.
Why he got a girl and a boy?
Yeah, who is the father here?
Manu.
Manu. What's his name?
Vaivasvatha.
Vaivasvatha. Yeah, Vaivasvatha is the father, sun god. And who is he asking to? Who is the teacher of the demigods? Vasishta. We just read. I think we read right in the last. Oh yeah, he spoke to his guru Vasishta. Okay, so Manu is asking Vasishta that how come this thing happened. So let's read the next verse. Yes, Lakshay, you can read this one.
Yes, Kṛṣṇa. Yuyam Brahma Vidu Yuktas Tapasa Dagda Kilbisa Kuta Sankalpa Visamya Anrita Vibhutesva Iva. Translation and purpose. You are all self-controlled, well-balanced in mind and aware of the absolute truth. And because of austerities and penances, you are completely cleansed of all material contamination. Your words, like those of the demigods, are never baffled. Then how is it possible that your determination has failed? We have learned from many Vedic literatures that a benediction or curse given by the demigod never proves false. By performing austerities and penances, by controlling the senses and the mind, and by achieving full knowledge of the absolute truth, one is fully cleansed of material contamination. Then one's words and blessings, like those of the demigods, are never failed. Hare Krishna.
What do you understand, Lakshay Prabhu? Yes.
I understand that like if we know follow Krishna consciousness and like know that learn the absolute truth and then we won't get contaminated by material nature and the other things like the material modes of nature like goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Very nice. And a person who sincerely is doing these, following the path of bhakti, sense control, doing the austerity, penance, and following the codes of the scriptures, then whatever that person speaks is Kṛṣṇa will make it happen. Like Srila Prabhupada. The famous example, I mean, there are multiple such examples, like Detroit Temple. Prabhupada was, thinking, okay, here will be kitchen, here will be altar, here will be DT room, etc. But the temple, they had not even purchased it. Prabhupada was thinking, okay, here. Same with Shri Radha Ras Bihari Temple. Prabhupada's determination, Prabhupada's vow, and Kṛṣṇa makes it happen. Same way at the junction, where the crossroads where now currently Girgaon Chopati temple is there, Radha Gopinath Mandir. Prabhupada stood at the crossroads. His Grace Shyamsundar Prabhu tells the story. Outside the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Prabhupada pointed his stick. There will be a temple there. And 10, 20 years later, 30 years later, the temple materialized. And like that, there are so many examples. So basically the words of pure devotee are the words of Kṛṣṇa. And that's what we are reading, because they are free from, we are discussing in the Evam Parampara Praptam verse also in Bhagavad Gita. They are free from the 4 contaminations. We read that in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. So their words don't go wrong. They don't cheat others. They are not selfish. Therefore, in this interesting question is brought up that how come the words, you chanted mantras which I told you to get a boy, and then opposite effect happens. So he's confused. So let's see what happens next. Text 19. Nikant Prabhu, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam. Text 19. Nishamya tad vachasthyaya Bhagavan prati atma pratitamana mahaha otar vyatikramam jnatva badhashi ravinandanam. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Ki Jai. The most powerful great-grandfather Vasishta, after hearing these words of Manu, understood the discrepancy on the part of the priest. Thus he spoke as follows to the son of the sun god. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna, thank you. Who is the son of sun god here?
Vaivasvatha Manu.
Yes. Lakshmi Prabhu, what did you say?
It's Vaivasvatha Manu.
Vaivasvatha Manu. Very good, Vaivasvatha. Who is his father? Vaivasvatha, sun god. Okay, so now Vasishta is responding back to Manu. Let's see. Text 20 is, who hasn't read? Aparna Mataji, you want to read? Guru Prabhu, you want to read?
Text 20. Also devotees, Namaste. Itat sankalpa vasya mayam hataste bhayabhi charotaha tathapi sadhoyeshyate shupro jastam sha tejosha. Translation by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. This discrepancy in the objective is due to your priest's deviation from the original purpose. However, by my own prowess, I shall give you a good son. Back to Guru.
Prabhu. So Vasishta is speaking this, that Vasishta is kind of maybe the head priest. There's so many priests are required for one yajna. It's not that just is one brahmana doing the yajna. There are multiple. There are priests, and one for chanting mantras, one to keep the fire going, one to make sure everything is happening nicely, one to get all the arrangement. Even now, there's so many. What to speak of in the previous age? Even now, to do one yajna properly, Kali Yuga properly, because we know we cannot do properly. So many arrangements are required, so many priests are required to do it properly. So, what to speak of in the previous day and age. But look at the power of Vasishta. So, firstly, he got to know, right, that why this deviation happened, and not only that, so much strength. He's saying, okay, whatever happened, I'll give you a son. That's very powerful. Let's see the next verse. Raman Prabhu, would you like to read? I'm so glad you joined us. Thank you for your wonderful association. Are you in a position to read?
Hari Bol Prabhu. I'm sorry I don't have my specs, but maybe I can log on from my machine and read.
Oh, okay. I don't want to strain your eyes if it's difficult, or maybe you can read the next one, whatever is.
Yes, Prabhu. I'll read the next one. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, great. Nandini Mataji, you want to read this one?
प्रभु दंडवत प्रणाम एवं व्यवस्थितो राजन् भगवान् स महाशया अस्तोषिदादि पुरुषमिलायाः पुंस्त्वकाम्यया. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sukadev Goswami said, O King Parikshit, after the most famous and powerful Vasishta made this decision, he offered prayers to the Supreme Person Vishnu to transform Ila into a male. So we see the power of holy names. It's so powerful. So one can make a decision, but if it doesn't pray, it may not happen. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, wow, this is extraordinary. So, Ila was the female daughter, and he's the power to transform. So, let's see what happens, whether he actually did that or not.
Hari Bol Prabhu. I'll try reading. Tasmai kam varam trashto bhagvanam haririshtraha dada vilabhatah tena Sudyumna purusha shalbha. Translation: The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, being pleased with Vasishta, gave him the benediction that he desired. Thus, Ila was transformed into a very fine male named Sudyumna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So here we see one important principle: akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo dharati tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Whether one has no desires, sarva kama, or all desires, moksha kama, desire for liberation, or anything else, one should do tivrena bhakti yogena. One should approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although we know that asking for, oh, give me a son, give me a daughter, give me a wife, give me money, give me job, give me car, give me house, give me this, give me that, is not the right thing to do, not the best thing to do, let's say. But it's much better than not praying to the Lord. Even if one prays to the Lord for material desire, that's better than not praying at all, or praying to the impersonal form. or praying to this Baba and that Baba and this demigod and that demigod. So, in any situation, whether one has a lot of desires, no desires, or impersonal, or liberation, desire for personal liberation, not the impersonal, that means to come back to Godhead, one should pray to the Supreme Lord, not to anyone else. This is the point here. Although pure bhakti is ahetukiya pratihata, without any motive, ahetuki, and unceasing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, "Na dhanam na janam na sundarim." Don't give me wealth, followers, opposite sex, etc. I only want mam janmani janmanishwari bhavatat bhakti ahetuki. A devotee asks for only bhakti. But getting to that stage is not, it takes time and sincerity. So Dhruva Maharaj also asked for kingdom, but later he realized. So Ila was transformed to Sudyumna. Let's see what happens next. Text 23. Yes, Babu Prabhu, want to read? Thank you, Ramanji, for reading so nicely.
Yes. Sa ekada Maharaja vicharam vragyam vane vrata katipayam matsyar ashvam arugya saindavam. Translation. Okay. So pragraya ruchicharam chapam sharam cha paramabhutam damshito anumragam viro jagama disham uttaram. Translation. O King Parikshit, that hero Sudyumna, accompanied by few ministers and associates and riding on a horse brought from Sindhu Pradesha, once went into the forest to hunt. He wore armor and was decorated with bows and arrows, and he was very beautiful. While following the animals and killing them, he reached the northern part of forest. Yeah, I think here it's explained about Sudyumna's, how he riding the horse and how he reached out the northern part of forest by following and animals and killing them. That is what my understanding is. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sudyumna is the child of? Whom?
Vaivasvatha. Yes. Vaivasvatha.
Vaivasvatha or Vaivasvatha?
Vaivasvatha.
Vaivasvatha Manu and Shraddha. So now he is the king. He's like a young prince and Kshatriya, right? These are Rajrishi, Kshatriya. And Kshatriyas, they used to go to the forest to hunt so that they can protect the praja, not like out of fun. Very important point here. So they would learn to their military science, etc., for the higher cause. Right? So important. Yes, Aparna Mataji, want to say something and read? Okay, who wants to read this one?
Who I can read.
Yeah, please.
Text chapter 9, so Canto 9, chapter 125. Sukumara banam merar adhastat kabi beshaha jatraste bhagavan charva rama mana shahamaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. There in the north, at the bottom of Mount Meru, is a forest known as Sukumara, where Lord Shiva always enjoys with Uma. Sudyumna and that forest. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So what is this Mount Meru? Who knows about this Mount Meru? Anyone?
It's 80,000 yojanas long, or million, 800,000, sorry, 80,000 yojanas long. It's in the center of the universe, and we read it in the 5th canto. It's made up of gold, and it was used in the last canto as a Samudra Manthan rod.
Was that Mount Meru or Mount Mandara?
Oh yeah, that's Mount Mandara, and yeah, sorry.
That was also a golden peak, actually. Thank you, thank you. Yes, this is Mount Meru, is the pivotal point, the center. So we have read that in the previous canto. So Sudyumna reached this forest. What was the name of the forest?
Sukumara.
Sukumara. Okay. Okay, so we'll halt Sudyumna in Sukumara forest, and we'll see what happened further. So we'll leave at the suspense point. Any comments before we start? Any additions? Okay, so we'll continue from here tomorrow. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.